Welcome to the tutorial where we'll go over the Concur. Um, why isn't this working? Oh, there we go. So in the agenda, we have a few things. We're going to briefly go over what Concur is, what the benefits are, how to access Concur, the status update and the notifications that we can get from Concur, how we get paid. We'll briefly show you what it looks like and go over their mobile apps, and finally the training that's available in their website. So Concur is a travel and expense tool that allows us to book travel completely in one place. So you don't have to have your paper receipt in piles and your travel information somewhere else. There's a place in Concur where you can book your flights, hotels, etc. right there, so you can easily collect your travel information in one place. It also helps you save time. As I said before, you don't have to hold on to the paper receipts. You can take a picture of it or scan it or email it to yourself to Concur to attach it to the expense report. If you are a frequent traveler, Concur recalls your travel habits and the people that you entertain often, so you don't have to input that information. There's also an option to put in your personal credit card information in Concur if you are using those cards when you're traveling a lot, and then you'll be able to import the transactions directly into Concur. Concur also has a place for a recently used list. If you're park or have business meals a lot, you can just click on it rather than going looking for that type of expense. Their mobile app is very friendly, user-friendly, and it does all the exact same things that you can do on a computer. Our GR's travel policy is incorporated into Concur Travel, so you don't have to figure out if you are within the travel policy or not. And finally, it provides the status updates throughout this process of submission and approval. To access Concur, you can go online to concursolutions.com. You should also download the Concur mobile app, expense it and trip it on your phones, whether it's Android or an Apple. You can also create a PIN number for in your profile, so you can just use that to log in rather than having to type out your email address and password. Hey, Danny.
They
Sorry. Just getting started.
New York just changed all their laws, so we have to rewrite everything.
Okay. So in Concur, it also gives you these status update reports and approval. Anytime there's a change in your expense report status, it sends you an email. Some of the examples might be the report has been approved by your manager, the report has been processed by accounting, or if you're a manager, you might receive an email saying that there is a report to be approved in your queue, or if you're on the if you're an employee and you're waiting for your report to be approved, it will send you an email as well. To get reimbursed, after the accounting department, once you submit the expense report, an accounting department audits and makes sure that all the receipts are there. You get reimbursed via your paycheck on the 15th and the last day of the month, depending on the timing. The code EXRMB for expense reimbursement will appear on your stub of your check, come as a positive deduction, and it will not affect your year-end earnings report. So at this point, let me go in to show you what it looks like in their website. So I guess I'll go through briefly what it looks like here and then go to the website itself. So this is what a login screen looks like. So once you go in here, this is your home page. It will have various items that you may notice. It will have available expenses if you have any. If you have any open reports, it will show that, and they're under the open reports. If you're an approver, I'm going to show if there's a list of items that needs to be approved. It's going to show up on the site. Quickly, so the next one is to how to create an expense report. So you click.
Sorry, can I ask everybody on the call to please mute their phones? It's really hard to hear them. Thank you.
So next thing is we do is we're going to create a new expense report by clicking on the new report. Once you do that, this little thing pops up where you want to fill out a little bit more information, like a report name. You can call it, whatever you want to call it. And then it'll have your default cost center. Let's say for the default cost center, if you are charging something to another cost center other than your default cost center, I would recommend to do that. There's another place inside the expense report to do that rather than doing it at the main place. This one should be your default cost center. Can you go back? Any required fields in here will have a red vertical bar. So here you would create the new report. All the things that the mouse is hovering around is the types of expenses that you could possibly use. Most recently, type, as mentioned earlier, those are the mostly frequently used expense types that you can select. So once you select an expense report expense, then you can fill in out more details. I'm going to go through a couple of things to show you how it can be done. One is business meals. So anytime you are when you have a business guest that you want to put it in when you're traveling. So the business meal with attendees, and there's another one if you are eating by yourself. Then there's another one called meals individual. So for this one where you have attendees, so to do that, you click on the business meals, and then you would fill the information out on the top. As you fill it out on the bottom, you'll see the attendees page pop up. So if you have another person or multiple people, you'll be able to put it in. For the first time around, you'll have to type in their names, but for any subsequent ones, if you use the same, if you are dining with the same people, that should be saved. That is automatically saved as a favorite. There was one. Okay. Another one that requires a little bit more entering is a hotel expense. For hotel expense, you can put in straight the hotel items, room rate, etc., or you can also add recurring charges like phone calls or internet charge or parking, etc. Or you can also have one-time charges like phone calls or meals, and you can put that in. One of the things the Concur makes it easier is there's a list of hotels that allows you to send. They can send your folio directly to your Concur account, so that information is automatically shows up in your account. So this just shows a quick screenshot. We can go into it a little bit detail when we show on the other side. Are you want to go to the line?
Oh, yeah.
So here, this is your main screen. When you come in here, you'll see a training toolkit. This website, this link will take you to the training in Concur. That's where it shows the basic things that you can do here. All of these videos, the total of, it's about 35 minutes long, 2 to 3 minute videos that guides you, and it's fairly to the point, and it's helpful. So on the bottom, as I mentioned earlier, you have required approvals. If you need something to be approved as a manager, you may have expenses that may be available to you. Those are in the middle, and any open reports that you have not submitted will show up on the open reports. And on the left-hand side, where it says trip search, you can also search flights, hotels, rental, train right from here rather than going to Hotwire or, I don't know, Kayak. So to start a new expense report, you'll click on Start a Report. And you'll call it a report name, put in a date. So cost center would be a default. So here, from here, you can either import on a receipt directly. For example, this one to the current report, you can say move, or you can create a new expense and then attach a receipt. It's the same thing either way is how you go it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can change the expense amount, not expense, expense type on there. And once you save it, you can just click on the save button. So here she used the receipt that's already there and just added a new expense. Can you do the meals one real quick? And if you, can you go back there, please? And if you hover around that piece, that little note thing, it will give you a preview of the receipt that you just uploaded for that expense. Let's do the mileage. So one of the cool things about this thing is when you are traveling and you use mileage, you normally send it from the Google Maps. Here you can just put in your to and from point A and B and calculate it. And on the right side, it shows the map. You can make it a round trip, or you can change the route that you are taking to a different road that you decide to go. And then you can do it right from here. And if you have multiple stops, you can edit those information on the left side. And add mileage to expense. And then save. So here, the mileage is automatically saved in there. You don't have to go to Google Maps or do a print screen or anything like that. It's all, everything is right there. Okay. I'm gonna quickly go through the meals.
Yeah, we're going to add an additional expense.
Okay. We're gonna do a quick one, the meals that I was talking about earlier. So this is a business meal with attendees. Business purpose is you're buying umbrellas, I guess. Okay, Taco Bell.
Yes.
Oh man, people are gonna there.
That'll raise more. So that'll be awesome. Bunch of Doritos, Locos, Tacos.
So down here, you would add in the new attendee. Um, yeah, you can add John Smith.
Thank you.
That's Colonel Sanders.
It's hard to write Colonel. It might have R in it.
Oh, my brain is dead.
ABC. Bank of ABC. So right from here, you added a new person, John Smith, for Bank of ABC as a business case, and you guys ate at Taco Bell. Here, you can also have favorites, or recently used, or attendee groups. If you have groups of people that you dine with, and you can call it, I don't know, for Texas, like let's say Houston branch and Plano branch, you could have that here, and then just select a group and then add it to the expense. And then they're all there. Oh man, that's a cheap lunch. And you move on. And then, but here we can't move on because you have an exclamation point. That means you have an error because it is requesting a receipt for that $30. So the receipt requirement is $25 from 15. However, you must, if you spend 25 and above, you must have a receipt. Otherwise, Concur does not allow you to submit the expense report.
Ben?
Yes.
Can we, so if this is Tom, how are you today? So if the,
Hey, Tom.
if the expenditure is $20, just list it and move on. Don't worry about the.
Correct.
Okay, very good, thank you.
If
Even
you
I
have the
receipt.
receipt, if you have the receipt for 25, 10, and $20, you can add it. It's not a requirement. If it's something, you know, or if you don't want to add it, maybe you can put a comment in it to say what it is.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Just,
Right.
If we can just remove a step, then that's helpful to know. Rather, because sometimes a $5 receipt. Sometimes I wouldn't submit that, but I mean, a $5 receipt takes just as much time as a $1,500 receipt.
Right. But if you have a receipt, you can add that in.
Okay.
If you don't have it, then you don't have it.
I'm attaching the receipt now.
Yep, you're attaching the receipt, that one that looks like a receipt. So here, Taco Bell provides a receipt. So we're attaching a receipt for Taco Bell here. Nice.
Uses their lettuce. Their receipt.
And so once we attach the receipt, you save it. So on there, on the notebook, on the little paper thingy, if you hover around it, it'll give you a preview of the receipt. And then if you hover around the people head looking thing, then it gives you a preview of the people that attended this business meal event. Okay. I'm gonna go through the hotels real quick. Lodging. I'm gonna show you the lodging real quick. So can you do on the drop down on the where it says vendor so we can see the giant list of hotels. So the list of hotels where you can forward the folio is this. It's fairly large list. We're gonna randomly select one. I didn't see a Super 8. And we can itemize it or allocate it. So to itemize is if we are putting in more detailed information of that expense. So here we're going to put in a check-in and check-out date. So here you would put the recurring charges per night, including taxes. And if you have additional items like parking, the recurring charges, and internet, the Wi-Fi. So let's say you included all the stuff, all the items for your hotel. However, you still have $100 remaining. That needs to be allocated as well. And so for that, we can choose a new expense type. Maybe you had a business meal by yourself, couple nights. So you can just choose what it is and save it. It's all the way down. This middle,
Oh, good grief.
right above it. There.
Yay!
So at this point, you have used up your $300.
I don't know.
Right.
Oh, it's zoomed in, that's why.
Hmm?
See, it's 120%. Yeah. Up to 100. So that's, we still need to upload a receipt for that. It's asking for one.
Come on, baby.
So once the expense report you believe is complete, you can just click on the submit button on the top right. We're not going to do that because this is a live scenario. But once you hit the submit button, the expense report automatically goes to your manager for their approval. And they will be able to review the whole thing with all the attachments of receipts. And so their screen is going to look very similar to what you are seeing right now. You want to go back to the presentation? So to import the receipts, there's multiple ways you can do it. One is scanning and uploading it. Another is you can have the Concur and Expense apps, especially the Expense app where it actually analyzes the receipts and can pull out the pertinent information from the receipt, such as the date, the amount, and the name, the place where you had that expense. It can pull that information out and guesstimate what type of expense that might be and put it under that expense. I have tested it, and so this actually works fairly well, even though sometimes it thinks it's a random. It thought it was a mosque outreach when it was a receipt for a restaurant. So you probably want to look at it before you submit it. And it can also do the small amount receipts, the $5 receipt, if you prefer to do that. And finally, you can also email your receipts to the receipts@concur.com for the regular receipts, and plans@concur.com for the travel-related receipts. But when you send this, you want to make for this to work, your email must be verified. For the verification, you'd go to your profile page, you go down to email address, and there's a button to verify it. Once you click it, they send you a code where you put that back in and it's verified. You can also put in multiple email addresses there for your personal email, where maybe you save your travel information. You can verify that as well, and you can send the itinerary, things like that, directly to plans.concur.com, and that information will show up in your expense report, in your profile page. One thing you want to make sure is that the email does not have any attachments. If it does, then especially multiple attachments, then it doesn't know how to read multiple attachments, and it just says it has an error and it doesn't do anything for it. That's one of the things that we noticed has an issue. Another thing is the credit card. You can, as I mentioned earlier, you can put in your personal credit card information if you would like. This is completely optional. It works with people who uses one credit card for all their travels, and it's easier to pull out travel-related transactions straight from the credit card. If you have personal in it, you can also remove it before the uploading the information into your Concur profile. So once everything is done, you will submit the report. When you submit it, you will have your receipts already attached in them. For your approval, your manager has 2 days to approve. If they don't approve in 2 days, the report automatically goes back to you. The manager can also reject a report, but you have to put in a comment that is required. Finally, a manager can forward a report to another approver for additional approval, or if you are adding multiple cost centers in your expense, then each cost center manager has to approve that piece. So for a manager, this is what you see when you open up an expense report to approve. So those buttons that we showed earlier, when you hover around it, it'll show a preview of the receipt. If they left any comment, it'll pop up. If they have any attendees, it'll pop up. And then from there, you can choose either if you didn't like what you see and you want to send it back to the employee, or you can approve and forward to another person, another approver. So for managers, while they are out of office or on vacation, you can also delegate your approving responsibility to another approver. So Junaid and Faye, if you are going on a vacation, you can have another approver approve on your behalf while you are out. That person that you're going to delegate to must be an approver. If it is not, then that person cannot approve it for you. You can also set a time limit when you can give this power to another person. And the only thing is if you give it to, say, somebody who has lower approving power than you do, that person will have the same approving power while you are in this temporary approval phase.
Okay, thank you.
So in your profile page, you can assign somebody else to do that. So here, Alice assigned me and Chris as to delegate it. Since I'm not an approver, I cannot approve anything, even though I'm acting in her behalf. While Chris, since he's an approver, he can approve emails. What you doing there? So you can also choose those dates when you can approve it. You can set the time limits. Now we're going to go quickly to show you what their app looks like. This is the login screen. Once you log in, you'll have the same capabilities like you have it on your computer. The only capability you won't have is the mileage piece. You won't be able to add any mileage. It's a known issue, and they're working on it. We don't have an ETA when that's going to be completed. So here you can add in your expense reports. You can add in any expenses. You can add more expense reports, create a new one. For a manager, you can approve. You can also take pictures of your receipts, or there's another button that says expense, that's syncing and stuff. So you can also have other apps connect to your Concur. This is my profile, so I added the Trip It and Expense It. You could also have Uber and Lyft and parking and Curb something, all these other apps that you can connect to Concur. So every time you have an expense, you can just pull that information right from there. This next few slides will show you briefly how to create an expense report in the app. To create one, you'll just, from the main page, you'll click on expense report, and then you can give it a name and click the save button to save. You can enter the expenses attached. So the plus sign will add a new expense. Save will save the expense. You can add in the receipts. On here, you can choose how to add a receipt. Either it's already saved in your phone, or you can take a picture of it. Here, they're trying to itemize a hotel bill. So it'll itemize it. You can choose a room rate. You want to make sure that the remaining balance is 0 on the bottom. And you can fill out all those the pertinent information here. So here they're trying to add business meal, looks like, and to make sure that the remaining balance is 0. They're adding attendees to an expense, a business meal. You can click on the plus to add more people in your business meal. You can search their name from your phone, or you can just add it as is. Or if you want to remove an expense, you can long press it and you can remove the expense from this report. You can also do the same for your receipts. You can attach or detach it to an expense. For managers, for approvals, you'll just click on approvals. It will give you the list that the items that you have to approve, and you can review it. And once you review it, you can either send it back to the employee or approve. So that's basically it. So to log into Concur, the login information is your GR email, and the temporary password is welcome. Me and Alice are here to help you with any questions, any issues that you may have. Feel free to contact us via email, phone call, or you can email the Concur email address that we have, apconcur@guidanceresidential.com. And again, to remind that from the main page, there is that training website that you can review, where it's very short and it takes about 35 minutes to finish. So any questions, feel free to ask.
What was the website?
ConcurSolutions.com.
So, ConcurSolutions.com, we use our GR email.
Yes. Yes.
And we should be going there now just to see as far as we can get. Is that right? I mean, we're not going to get.
It should be all ready to go.
Okay.
As far as you can get, what do you mean?
Well, I thought, I vaguely recalled there was going to be some email coming out saying, here's your, like a password and stuff, but you just gave us our password, so.
Right.
Yeah.
We all know your password, Tom.
Ben, I have a question.
Okay.
I didn't see Trump Tower on the list of hotels for choice.
Yeah, we don't,
We can't afford it.
we can't afford it, there you go.
Great.
I'll pay the difference. What's the maximum allowed?
Okay.
So if we have an expense report, like, I mean, if we have a American Express card, a corporate one, I know you had some section in there about the credit cards, but should we be submitting one for the corporate credit card and then one for other expenses that aren't on the card, or?
Yeah, you want to?
Hey, Tom, it's Alice.
Hi, Alice.
Hi, we're currently working on that process. We haven't fine-tuned it yet, so just keep doing what you're doing now, and we'll let you know. Any card holder will let you know what you need to do.
Okay, all righty.
But you can attach your own personal card there at this point, if you want to.
Yes.
So I have a couple questions. Can we, as managers, submit reports for our subordinates?
You want to submit an expense report for him or Zia? What can he send his own expense report?
Oh, if he's not available, or not a computer, or?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the answer is no.
So the answer is no, yeah.
Okay.
But the answer is, he can say, designate you to do it if he wants you to do it. But
You could designate me, and then I could do it.
yeah.
For the attendees, how accurate does it have to be?
Accurate.
Okay, so you add a group of users like finance, but 3 people aren't going that time. Do you have to remove those 3 people from the list of attendees?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like Tiffany would use GR Office as a group. She would then go back through and remove everybody who's not in the office that day? So it's not like that specific, right. It's just if it's a small group, be exact. If it's a large group, I think you're good. Yeah. Okay. I
mean, and her attendees could be a group name, rest in office, and it not have all...
Not be a group.
Group, right.
And then managers delegating people to cover for them. Right. Do those people have to be approved by HR? Because you're giving that person access to other employees' expenses and everything? Or can you just pick anybody?
No, in your case, you would have to choose an approver, like say Suha.
Yeah.
But you can't choose him because he can't approve in the first place. So Suha can.
So I guess in the field it probably applies more. So like Faye would choose an area manager while she's out or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because an area manager, I'm assuming, would be approving for their users.
No, area manager can't.
No, I'm sorry, I thought it has to be a higher manager than me.
So it has to be
Is that right,
higher
Evan?
than you.
For Faye, you can probably, you can assign Heidi to approve for you, or you can choose, like, say, Junaid or Abdesamad, who's at the same level as you. You can choose them as well.
Okay.
If they are okay with that, of course.
And we can walk you through delegating the duties when the time comes, and we don't expect you to remember that little detail, because it's only going to happen once or twice, probably a year, while you guys are on vacation.
Yeah.
It's just to make sure that no expense reports get stuck in the queue because somebody's
out of the office.
Out of the office.
Okay. So if somebody doesn't approve within 2 days and it gets thrown back at the employee, what do they do then? They just resubmit it?
Right.
Okay.
So would a notification go out to whoever submit the expense report, says that it's not approved or nobody approved it?
Right, an email would go out to the person who submitted the expense report saying that it was sent back to you because your approver didn't approve it in time. And I think the approver would also receive an email saying that we didn't approve in the time frame.
And there's an email for the approvers. There's an email that gets sent out saying there's an expense report for you to approve in your queue. So you'll know that there's an expense report out there, and if for some reason you forget it, in 2 days, you're gonna get another email saying, hey, remember, you have an expense report out there, and then if you don't touch it then, if you don't approve it then it gets kicked back to the employee saying, this was in your manager's cube, it wasn't approved, they're gonna have to resubmit it. That's also to prevent expense reports from sitting out there.
So let's say I'm not approving everything in the report. I'm just approving, let's say, half of the report. What shall I do?
Just approve half of the report. When
Just
a
say the
report
amount?
if the report, say for instance, you had a joint dinner with another group, and they were going to pay for part of it, and you were going to pay for part of it, your portion is going to be approved by your cost center's approver, and the other portion is going to be approved by that person's cost center approver. Say, for instance, you split it between accounting and your region. So your region would approve part of it, and the accounting region would approve the other part of it. And both of those have to be approved in order for the expense report to go through.
But I would put all the charges in there, and then I can allocate the other charges to the other department. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Can we fix expenses? If we, like, so we're approving an expense and we realize they put a 9 instead of a 6 or something like that. Can we fix that, or do we have to just deny it, send it back to them, let them fix it, and then it comes back?
I think that you have to send it back to the submitter.
And just, yeah, write a note
And then
saying, oops. Also, too, when Daniel gave a good example, if the person put in $96 and it was supposed to be $95, you have to reject that expense report, have the employee fix the report. In addition, if it gets approved and makes it to the accounting audit and we find the same error, we will also reject it back to the employee, and it will have to go through the process again. So it's a good thing to be detailed and careful about it. Otherwise, your report gets rejected.
And we still have to submit within 30 days. Is that right?
Correct.
I better get submitted. I got some stuff to submit. Yeah.
And Aben, is this is effective immediately, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So if you have any pending stuff that you have not submitted, an expense report yet, please do it through Concur.
I have a few sheets to send you. Got an hour and 15 minutes to get them to you.
If it's over the time frame you're at.
Any more questions?
Oh, you are over a month, no?
Excel sheets.
Say?
Follow this.
No, thank you. I'm good. Thank you.
Say, I was going to say, let me show you what you were talking about as far as allocating. So you see this button down here, it says allocate. I click on that. You have an option of allocating by percentage or amount. Say, for instance, I'm going to add a couple new allocations, and I can go. Now, I have access to many cost centers, which other people may not have access to, so I can allocate this cost all kinds of ways, and then save it. And now, when it's submitted, it's going to go to all those allocations, and now there is a new button here, and that is your allocation button.
So my question comes in here. We do a lot of PD activities with JR Homes. So I would
Uh-huh.
be able to allocate that to them?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, guys and girls.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right.
Call it a wrap.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Yes, good evening.